Well, hello and welcome to the Journalism 601 online course for fall 2015. And I will begin this screencast with an apology. I had meant to do my introductory video and the week one video about what to expect from the course and some background information about theory in week one. But I got delayed with the start of classes, and then I just flat out forgot that I needed to do this. So, better late than never. I will, after I finish recording this, I will upload it to YouTube, and then I will send the link to everybody. And so, at this point, if you're watching this, then you've received that link. And so, here we go. I wanted to give you an overview of the course. I'll do a separate video with a little introduction of me, your instructor for the course. But this is the Blackboard site and what it looks like now. So the video that you might have seen would have shown a Blackboard site over here to the left with some green buttons. I changed the design a little bit, updated things, because that just needs to happen from one iteration of the course to the next. So we do have an announcement section in here, and at this point, the only thing that you would see would be an announcement that I have posted well, it's a test, but it's really just a weekly quiz to make sure that you are invested in the readings. And so you'll see similar announcements about similar tests posted because those weekly assessments of the readings will occur weekly, as I just said. So you'll see an announcement every time that happens, probably Sunday, Monday. That's usually how we're going to do things in here. So speaking of that, if you click on the syllabus link, I do want to talk a little bit more about the syllabus. So for now, I'll just go ahead and open that. But for, while it's opening, we'll stay on Blackboard and I'll minimize this for right now. More on that in a second. I did want to go through these links and at least show you what each contains. This is the required text page. So you should have textbooks that look like this. And so the visual image is there, as is the navigation material, the ISBN, in order to find those. And at this point, after week one, you should have those texts. You will need those. So just the schedule is, just as the name denotes, just the schedule for the course. And so the way we have this set up, maybe I'll go through this right now, and that'll save me from having to do it with the course syllabus. So week one, we did some introduction, as in I had you do an assessment of what you already understand about theory and submit that. And again, as an assignment indicated, it is not graded, but I do want to see what you already know, and that'll give me an idea of where we are as a class. Then a little bit more reading in the historical overview section. So the Shoemaker textbook, I wanted you to read chapter 1. I also had some PDF links that you'll be able to find in the actual course content of our Blackboard site. But for now, you know then, looking at just the schedule, what exactly I would want you to do. And then speaking of your actual assignments, the way we have this course set up is that each week begins on the Monday. I'm going to do it that way because usually if you're taking an online course, it's been my experience that you work during the week. And so I would want to give you the weekend in order to do some of these things that I've asked you to read and that I've asked you to complete. So you'll notice up here that in this column to the right, the rightmost column, all of your assignments are going to be due Sunday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then once we lose daylight savings time, it'll be Eastern Standard Time. So this should give you an idea of what I'm wanting you to do, and this is just a quick reference point. It should mirror and mimic what you see in the course syllabus. So that is something I wanted to show you, at least how the week-by-week schedule will play out as we go through the semester. Now in here, this is just some background information about the technical skills required for taking the course. I will let you read that on your own. Then, okay, I try to outline what each of these links to the side or buttons, what do they do, what do they offer you. So the basics for online courses, this is important. It is important to make sure that you have the requisite fundamental knowledge in order to be successful in a course that is run heavily on technology. So then when we get past this divider, now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of the course itself. Here's the content. This is where you'll go quite often over the next 15 weeks. So we are already into week 1. And so here we are. You have objectives up here that are designed to tell you what you should be accomplishing from week to week. Then your activities. So I will update these, and then of course, as I mentioned, I'll send the YouTube links for week 1. But normally, starting with week 2 and then each week, each subsequent week, there should be an overview video of the content. Now, these are going to be short, and that's by design. I will give you a video and I will try to summarize or draw attention to key things that I think you need to be noticing in the readings or that you need to be paying attention to. I also will try to give you some pointers along the way. It kind of depends on the content that week and what we have going on. However, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to give you a lecture with a PowerPoint and then my audio voiceover attached to it. I'm not going to do that. We are going to try to set up optional virtual discussions to discuss the readings for those who are able to attend, and that's what the doodle poll was for in week 1. And so that announcement will be forthcoming about when most of the class members could attend such an optional virtual chat. But that's just it. It is optional, and it will remain optional. Now, if you aren't able to attend because of work schedules or something else that conflicts, remember, in the syllabus, you have, and maybe this will be a good time for me to go back to this and reference it, you do have contact information for me, a lot of it actually. My email address is there, so is my Twitter profile. I also have my Skype username there. So for those of you who maybe cannot attend the virtual chat, Skype might be another option. So I'm gonna say this, that I will leave it up to you to be proactive about how much more instruction that you need. These videos, because of the screencast software that I use, I maxed out at 15 minutes. That's as long as I can go. I don't plan to go much beyond that because, quite frankly, I don't know that people will stick around and watch much longer than 15 minutes. It's just been my experience that those PowerPoints combined with audio voiceover, they don't get the job done. So I will try to streamline things for you so that you can save your time and actually get into the readings and try to get as much through it as you can before we get to whenever we have that virtual chat, that optional discussion. And we'll try to do that weekly as much as possible. Then you'll have your assignments down here prompted by to do of what you're supposed to be doing. And then, as I mentioned, there is usually going to be at least an exercise when you have readings to check to make sure that you understand the major ideas behind those readings. That's the point. It's not meant to be busy work. It'll probably seem like that, but it's meant to make sure that you get the overarching competencies that I'm trying to get you to glean from these readings, because that'll be important for your own comprehension in preparation for the midterm exam and then later the final exam. So there's some information here about me, and then there's also some links if you want to email or Skype with me. So that information is made right there in Blackboard, and it's designed for your convenience so that you can get a hold of me when you need to, as you need to throughout the semester. There is a discussion board. I won't participate much in that, but I do believe you should be able to, among yourselves, perhaps throw out some discussion points or things that you'd like to go over. But for the time being, I don't plan to be heavily involved in that capacity. Then, of course, your grades. And then there's some Blackboard information that I think you should be aware of. So if you haven't clicked on these links, there's a technology help desk that should give you some background information. It's still circling around here, but that should be one link. Then there's also some student services here as well. There we go. That's as a Ball State student taking a Ball State online course, these services are available to you, and so you should be aware of them. And then here was that technology help desk that was taking a while to upload. But do look at this. Do look at this. And I would argue that if you do have questions about Blackboard, this Blackboard FAQs, that's where you ought to go first and see if you can figure it out. If at that time you still can't, then I'll definitely try. But you have to understand that I can't see what you see. So if we're going to do that, then I need you to communicate to me, with me, by way of screenshots, or at least, at the very least, descriptive detail about what you're trying to do and what you've already done to try to solve the problem. So there's your content in Blackboard. Hopefully that should help. Now, I already mentioned some of my instructor info. What I'm going to try to use for those optional virtual chats will be a site called Wigio. I used to use Meetings.io. Unfortunately, that was in beta mode and it didn't take off, and so they've since shut it down. And that was in response to Google Plus Hangouts, because I'm not a fan of Google Plus Hangouts and all the circles that you have to create and whatnot. So I went looking, and so far Wigio looks decent. So I put that in the syllabus so that you have a place to go in order to prepare for our optional virtual chats. I think that's what we'll use until further notice. And then you saw in Blackboard the 3 required textbooks. Here they are listed in the syllabus. And then I do put in some recommended materials. I'll let you read that in the syllabus if you haven't already. These are the 5 points that we're trying to accomplish over the course of the 15 weeks. So they're not in any particular order. I will say that probably we'll be doing, well, history kind of comes with each unit. What I'm going to do is I've got it set up so that you'll understand some of the foundational theories related to whichever ones we study that particular week. In other words, what are the key theorists or the key hallmark studies related to that theory? So that's the history part. And then what I want is for you to understand contemporary application of those theories. So it's a little bit, past and present each week based on the theories that we study that week. Your articulation of the knowledge of the role of theory comes from those weekly content exercises. It'll come from your midterm and final exam, and it'll also be evident in your final paper that you do for the course. And then along those lines, your final paper is meant to get you kick-started towards your thesis or creative project, which you must complete in order to earn your master's degree from the Department of Journalism at Ball State. And then early on, probably week 3, if memory serves, we do a unit in here talking about grad school expectations and that lifestyle that you'll lead as a grad student working towards your MA in journalism or MA in PR. So I do put anything in boldface, anything that's highlighted, you really need to pay attention to that because it's important. And so yes, I do believe that an online course requires strict discipline. You need to stay on schedule, and that's why I have it set up in Blackboard in weekly modules. So hopefully that should help you look ahead and see what's coming. And then, as I mentioned, I will try to update these screencast videos week by week to make sure that they're relevant. So the department and university policies, I'm going to let you read those if you haven't already. Most of your submissions will be done by way of Blackboard because we have no other alternative. It has to be done electronically. And you do need to meet the deadlines. You should have no reason for not meeting the deadlines unless something comes up, in which case I should know about that so that I can work with you to determine a mutually satisfactory alternative. And I would say this, this is your degree program. And so I have a couple of hints for some of you returning to school from industry. Make sure that you leave yourself ample time to read the texts, checking for your own understanding. If you're coming straight from undergrad, you need to understand that this is a step up for you. This is not undergrad plus. And along those lines, for everybody's benefit, you should already have a plan. I know it's only the end of week 1, but you should be having an idea already about what it is that you're wanting to study. Why are you here? Why are you in this graduate program? And I think that's going to be helpful for you as we go through this course because, again, it's designed to get you prepped for the next step. So here is how I'll be evaluating you, and that includes dates for your exams. You will have one midterm and you will have one final exam in this course. And then I have each of those evaluative metrics outlined, and then I've also aligned them with the intended outcomes. Again, those 5 points of interest that we hope to accomplish over the next 15 weeks. So once you get down here, you have the schedule, and then I also, at the very end, have an alphabetical list of the readings that we're going to do throughout the semester. So it's a very long syllabus. It's 17 pages long, but it's thorough, and that's by design. I want you to understand what's expected of you. So again, this will be a very demanding course, and I do think that you can do well, but I also think that you need to make sure that you are on top of it. So welcome, and